Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, calls for private support towards research. In other news, boys dormitory at the Newmont Senior High School caving in, and students have been relocated to classrooms. We'll be speaking to our reporter who's there to tell us more on that very soon. Now, on the international front, a suicide bomber has blown himself up in northern Mali in the town of Gao, the country's first of such case. Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Lai. This is Midday. I've got details of these stories and many others coming up shortly. Please stay with me. Right, so I start one of our headline stories. The male students of the Newmont Senior High School in the Sujaman district of the Eastern region have been relocated from the boys' dormitory to the classrooms, and we go straight, due to structural defects at the boys' dormitory, we go over to the school that's in Newmont Senior High School, where we have our reporter Komla Kluche there. He's going to tell us more on that very situation. Hello, Komla.
Hi.
I'm sure you've gone around, and if you've been able to speak to the school authorities, what is the level of structural defect at the boys' dormitory?
Wendy, a scary situation, very, very, very scary situation. You will see very deep cracks in the main boys' dormitory. That's accommodation close to about 1,000 students. The specific number is over 980 students. This is the only boys' dormitory that we have, and all of them were crowded in it. Now, my understanding is that since 1970 thereabouts, when the building was put up, there hasn't been any rehabilitation that has led to the cracks being developed. The students have been evacuated now because of the seriousness of the issue into a classroom, 3-unit classroom that the 13-unit classroom that has been put up. Now they are crowded and congested in there. But Wendy, I have the assistant headmaster administration here, Madam Elizabeth Gadagri. I would want to just Mom, when was this thing first detected?
Well, this thing has been detected for some time now, but as we tried renovating the place, we tried painting, and then as time goes on, we've replaced broken rails, broken windows and all those things. But this time it's so serious, so it's very scary, as the reporter has said. So we have to report to the authorities. We wrote to the district assembly, giving a copy to our district director and the regional director. And it was last Monday, on the 4th of February, that came to write on the wall that which evacuate the students. We have done that. And the students have been evacuated into a 13-unit classroom block, which is really controversial. You see, when it happens that way too, the classroom block that the students are now sleeping was used for learning. Where do we send those children? So we have sent those children to the dining hall, and that is where they learn, and then they are even writing their at the moment. And then dining is taking place in the open air, which is really a challenge to the school authority.
Let me back you. Why did it take you so long? This is a very serious issue. Lives could have been lost in it, but why did it take you so long until the 5th of this month, where you had to evacuating them? They still bath behind this building that is almost collapsing.
Students, as you know, are so notorious. We have even told them the danger behind all those things, but yet still they go there and then have their bath. We started doing something, but you know that is out of reach. We could not do enough. And it is this time that we realize that it's very serious. So we are calling on the authorities to come to our aid to help us.
Okay, so Wendy, that is assistant headmaster administration.
All right, so Komla, but does it mean that nothing is being done about the situation as at now? No contract has been awarded to any contractor to start working on the building?
Wendy, for now, nothing is being done on the building that has developed structural effects now. The only thing is that they are putting up a new boys' dormitory, but that is at the foundation level. So that is it. Fortunately, I met the district director of education who also passed back to assess the situation, and he has called for the immediate response of NADMO to cordon off the area so that nobody goes close for the building to collapse on the person.
But nothing has been said on renovation.
Absolutely nothing of that nature. Authorities tell me.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Komla Kluchi. He's our reporter at the Newmont Senior High School, and he was giving us an update on the boys' dormitory structure that is actually caving in and what is being done about that very situation. The students have been moved to their classrooms, but according to him, that more will cordon off that very area. You still watching Midday Live. To another headline story: the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR) is calling for private support towards research. The Director General of CSIR, Dr. Abdullahi Baba Salifu, made this known at the closing ceremony of the 7-day International Food Crops Workshop in Accra.
Participants from 4 African countries took part in the workshop intended to plan on agricultural development across Western Central Africa. Post-harvest of maize, plantain, cowpea were used as case studies to increase productivity across the sub-region. Innovations, varieties, technologies and participatory approaches were adopted to generate income and improve the living standards of chain actors. Some difficulties confronting farmers in the sub-region were catalogued.
We also have challenges in terms of our farmers, in terms of inadequate production management practices, and of course machinery. It is important to use fertilizer. But it has been very, very difficult, for our farmers to use fertilizer at the level that they require.
The Director General of the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, Dr. Abdullahi Baba Salifu, mentioned financial constraints as a major setback towards the activities at the center.
It has been a challenge for some time now. We really do hope that the situation is going to change, because first of all, if you recall, last year His Excellency former President Atta Mills did indicate that government now pledges to devote at least 1% of our GDP towards scientific research. It looks like the fortunes of the country are gradually increasing, and therefore I believe we would now refocus to put monies where the greatest development would come from.
Dr. Salifu touched on some new researches undertaken by the center.
3 weeks ago, we came up with new varieties of maize, cowpea, and cassava, and even yam. We are now developing 3 species, that can, take out, carbon dioxide on a greater scale.
Now we go straight to Parliament, where the Appointments Committee is continuing with its ministerial nominees, and also the minority in Parliament did meet with the leadership of Parliament. I have on the phone line my colleague and our parliamentary correspondent, Edward Kwabi, to tell us more on what's happening in Parliament today. Hello, Edward. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Wendy.
Now, before I let you talk about the vetting that's ongoing, what did you gather from the meeting the minority did have with the leadership in Parliament?
Yeah, prior to the meeting of the vetting or the appointment committee, we were told that the Speaker's lobby or the Speaker's conference room, that is the usual place that we normally hold our vetting, would be used for something else. So we were waiting until we saw the minority leader leading his team to meet the Speaker of Parliament, that is Honorable Edward, Right Honorable Edward Duagaho. It was a meeting held in camera or and a closed door. So we cannot tell exactly what went on, but we can confirm that the minority did have a meeting with the Speaker and of course the majority.
Now, for the vetting, how many nominees will be appearing today, and what's the latest on the vetting in Parliament?
We have 5 people appearing before the appointment committee. They are Honorable Sharia for Health Ministry, Elvis Afriyanka for Youth and Sport, Dr. Henry Seidu Dana, Chieftaincy and Cultural Affairs, Peti Ahwai for Interior Ministry, and of course Marco Yongo for Defense. So far, it is Honorable Sherry Aite, the Minister Designate for Health, who made her appearance. She was the first person who appeared before the committee. Now she spoke about the construction of 3,200 community chip centers for some deprived communities when she took office. Now she touched on putting up hospitals in each district and municipal capital. So she was the person who was vetted a few minutes ago, and she walked out a few minutes ago. And the next person to change the appointment committee is Honorable Afri Answer, who is the Minister Designate for Youth and Sport.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Edward Kwabi, for that update. I just spoke to our parliamentary correspondent, Edward Kwabi, and he tells me that 5 nominees will be appearing before the appointments committee. Already, the Minister Designate for Health, Sherry Aite, has been vetted. We look at some other stories, and keeping first aid medication at offices, medical experts say is obligatory. But are there any in offices? This is what Eva Tiboga has been finding out.
Some health problems could be stabilized with first aid medication before calling a doctor.
Stitching time saves 9. If you're able to actually control it, usually it's better to actually do first aid. In actual fact, might not be enough, but then it will provide some relief for you, just so you'll be in a very good position to report to the hospital. For example, if you have diarrhea, provided it's even infective diarrhea, once you are arrested and you report to the hospital, then the medical officers, they will pick it up from there.
The news team visited some offices to find out contents in their first aid kits, but fiddled around office corridors and in offices for hours, but could not find any. At some offices, the news team was told the one in charge of first aid was out of the premises for either official or unofficial duties. Other workers affirmed they did not have any.
More on health, and we move straight to the Ashanti region, where authorities of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital in the region are complaining of congestion at the facility. They say patients continue to flock into the emergency center with no available beds, and also relatives of patients have been sleeping on the premises of the hospital. On the phone line is Ashanti Regional Correspondent William Evans Inkum. Hello, Evans.
Hello, Wendy.
Have you been able to speak to authorities to find out what they're doing about the situation?
Wendy, exactly. I think congestion at Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital has actually prevailed for a very long time. I would say it even started immediately after the A&G block or the Accident Emergency Center was commissioned some years back. But it looks like finding solution to address the issue has been a quagmire, and this has now generated media attention of late. Wendy, as I'm speaking to you now, Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital is overpopulated, and at the A&G Center, you find patients lying on the floor because there's limited spaces for new admittance. And basic science, Wendy, will tell you that these patients are likely to expose themselves to some microorganisms that could be clinically dangerous to their health. But the choice is very limited to these poor patients because there are no space, and the only way they can also see to it that the reason for which they came to the hospital is addressed is also remaining or to catch the attention of these doctors. This morning I was at the Corporate Affairs Office, and it looks like authorities are just handicapped about the current problem. And to some extent, I won't blame them because Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital is serving multi-purpose now as far as health delivery.
But when you spoke to them, didn't they give you measures they're putting in place to tackle that very issue? What are they saying about the congestion at the emergency centers?
Well, I think I will agree with the authority for now. I mean, the only way this problem, as they told me, can be resolved is setting up a regional hospital.
But in the interim, what measures are they putting in place?
Let me be very frank with you. It looks like they are very handicapped. Even short-term or long-term measures is actually not on the table on the table for now, because they think that the only way this problem can be resolved, like I mentioned earlier, is setting up a regional hospital to cater for minor cases. Because on weekends you see some of the referral cases on Komfo-Anokye, you see most of patients being brought there, and they are minor cases. So the only way the issue can be properly resolved is setting up a hospital for the region. And then this morning, we heard in airways that the president has taken the issue into consideration and is thinking for the medium term, setting up a general hospital for the hospital. So Ashanti, the people of Ashanti region are bracing up for that. If what the president said.
But aren't they also looking at referring probably minor cases or cases that are not that serious to other hospitals in Kumasi?
I think the problem is that you know the other hospitals in Kumasi, most of them are privately owned, and I keep saying this, that the fact is that some of them national health insurance they don't even accept. Okay, and so since Kofanoche Teaching Hospital is a state property or a government hospital, they prefer coming there because over there issue of national health insurance scheme, those who are on it, is not actually a problem. So it means those marginal patients or those who cannot afford the private hospital most of the time direct their path to the Kofanoche Hospital where they come to meet major challenges. So
does it mean that they are not accepting patients, or when they come they just allow them stay there? Looking at the picture you've given us now, does it mean that they just allow them stay there, or they are not accepting anymore?
For now, accepting is out of the decision now. I actually asked the PRO the same question you are asking me, and he told me that it will be very difficult for you to drive away a patient because he also come there. He has that right to be catered for as far as health delivery is concerned. So it's very difficult for them to actually drive patients away from the hospital. They have to be admitted and probably put their fingers crossed that
while the place keeps on getting congested. Is that the case?
The place is congested.
So they keep admitting while the place is still congested?
From what I saw, it looks like exactly what you are asking me.
Well, thank you very much, William Evans Nkument. He's our reporter in the Ashanti region. He was giving us an update on the congestion at the Kofanoche Teaching Hospital Emergency Centers, and he says there are no available beds there. This is still Midday Live. President John Dramani Mahama has left Accra for London to attend the launch of former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo's foundation. President Mahama is attending the launch together with other colleague heads of state from Nigeria, Liberia, Sierra Leone and Senegal. The statement signed by the presidential spokesperson John Abdullahi Jidapos said President Mahama will also take part in a panel discussion on advancing human security for all as part of the launch. And also billed to attend by the Ghanaian president is an investment discussion that will involve various European private sector players and analysts. The statement noted that President Mahama will return to Accra on Sunday, February 10, 2013, after engaging some sections of the European media to further promote Ghana as the political and business destination in Africa. Next is what do you think? We're looking at the president moving from the Castle Osu to the Flagstaff House. What do you think? The president has moved the seat of government from the Castle Osu to the Flagstaff House. Today on What Do You Think, we're asking you, what do you make of that decision?
Basically, I think it's a step in the right direction. The Osu Castle is a bit outdated, and this was put in place for them to manage the affairs of the country.
It's a step in the right direction because as a country we need to unite. And what I've observed for the past years is that anything NPP decide doing, you see NDC shifting aside, and vice versa. So if President Mahama has decided to move to the Flagstaff House, to me, it's a sign of cooperation, which I think we should all cherish.
I don't see anything wrong with it since this place belongs to Ghana. So for the president coming here, there is nothing wrong with it. It's a good idea. And then also to bring unity among the people.
I think it's a nice thing because every country should have a state of government, and I think that is just good that this place was built by the former administration, and then he has come to live in.
And more on the relocation of the seat of government to the Flagstaff House from the Osu Castle. I have on the phone line ACP Awuni to tell us more on traffic management and security details issues over there. Good afternoon, ACP, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing very well, ACP.
Okay.
Now, regards with the junctions linking the Flagstaff House, would there be any security details there?
Yes, we are strategizing together with the security experts, but as far as traffic is concerned, we are going to add more people and add more traffic points, especially at your junction there, from your end there to the TV3 junction there to the French embassy. Okay. We are going to create a traffic duty post there.
Okay, and now with this, are you done, ACP?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Will this be a permanent development?
Yes, permanent.
It's going to be permanent?
Permanent, yes.
All right.
Because we have observed that at times, because there's no traffic mandate, there's congestion there. Okay. And everybody does whatever he wants. But we don't think that we should allow that situation anymore. It's going to be a permanent traffic man will be there permanent.
Okay. And are we going to see the road closed? Junctions?
No,
there won't be any. Okay.
No, it's not going to be closed. We're going to manage it. We are not going to close it.
So it means that the free flow of traffic will also be managed from morning till evening?
Yes, we are going to manage it. We are not going to close it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, ACP Awuni. And I was speaking to him about the traffic management and security issues at the Flagstaff House since the seat of government has been moved from the Castle Osu to the Flagstaff House. We look at some other stories, and caretaker Ashanti Regional Minister Dr. Kwekwajiman-Mensah has called on the people of the Ashanti region to give their maximum support to Samuel Sarpong, who has been appointed to succeed him. He made the statement in his last meeting with heads of various government departments in the region.
His brief meeting created the opportunity for the minister to lay down some of his achievements during his 2-year term and the need to support the incoming Ashanti Regional Minister designate, Samuel Sarpong. He was grateful to the heads of the various government departments for the support they gave him during his tenure in office, and also called for similar support for his successor.
The way you conduct the affairs of your respective departments and the staff who work under you will affect the rate at which our development aspirations as a country can effectively be met.
In an exclusive interview with TV3 in his office, the outgoing minister expressed gratitude to the late and current president for the confidence reposed in him.
If you read the African Review, according to them, they rated me as the #1 performing regional minister. I have the privilege of working with very hard working men and women, and I'm very grateful for the support and collaboration that I received from them.
Now, development of the goodwill sector is crucial to expanding economic activities. William Evans in the following report takes a look at the current state of the Eastern Lines.
The Buankra Inland Port is one of government's initiatives in achieving a multimodal transport hub in the sub-region. Invariably, inland ports thrive on effective road and rail transport networks. However, the country's rail system, which is expected to serve as an alternative to the road network, is rather in a poor state. The situation has brought lots of pressure on our roads. Cutting goes between ports through rail network is considered most viable and cost-effective. In 2005, the Minister of Ports, Harbours and Railways announced plans to extend the railway to facilitate economic development. Possible projects at the time included extending rail transport from Ejoso to Nkransa and Techiman, Tamale to Bolgatanga, Paga and Burkina Faso, from Wenchi, Bole, Tuwa and Hamle. It is over 18 years since the last journey by rail to Kumasi. the railway station has been left to rot. Scores of squatters have turned the Kumasi Railway into a settlement, while an illegal mini-market has sprung up. Former Roads and Transport Minister in erstwhile Kufuor's administration, Dr. Richard Winfred Anani, said his government did a lot to revive railway transport and mentioned plans to extend the rail lines up north.
For the Kufuor administration, it was more like a commitment. Let us develop the rail infrastructure so that we can encourage the siting of industries up north, so that people who want to site their industries up north will have the comfort and the confidence that when they finish with their products, within 6 hours they'll be able to get their products down south.
The Ijesu Jabe Municipal Chief Executive, Efrifa Yamwa Ponko, stressed the present administration's determination to revive the ailing sector.
Over the last few years, government has shown a lot of commitment to building that particular, edifice for the people of the Ijesu Jabe municipality and, of course, Ghana as a whole. So all of us are looking forward to seeing this all-important project executed, that is on time, in order to accelerate the economic development of this area.
Now, Angel FM, a local radio station in Kumasi, has presented items in cash worth 3,000 cedis to residents of Asasibonso in the Ashanti region. About 70 houses were burnt when fire swept through the entire community.
About 460 inhabitants were affected. Food crop farms, domestic items and other properties were lost. The displaced residents are currently accommodated in the local primary school block. The fire is reported to have started from a nearby bush at 11:30 Monday morning when most of the inhabitants had gone to farm.
All our belongings are burnt to ashes and all our farms have been razed down. Government should assist us.
Meanwhile, Angel FM, a local radio station in Kumasi, and Angel Foundation have presented items and cash of 3,000 cedis to the people of Asasibonso. The items, which included clothing, roofing sheets, food items and cooking utensils, were received from listeners of the station after the station carried the story of the fire. The head of programs at Angel FM, Kwame Dinkra, said they were touched by the plight of the community and assured them of more support.
And still in the Ashanti region, Newmont Ahafo Mine has presented 15,000 cedis towards a water project for Beposo in the Busumche district. The gesture forms part of the company's social or corporate social responsibility to communities in which it operates.
Beposo in the Busumche district is confronted with severe water problems, hampering agricultural production in the area. The town has only 2 boreholes, and plans to connect the community to Busumche Waterworks had been on drawing board for a number of years. The community, led by their chief, Nana Kankama Pinten, initiated a 200,000 Ghana cedi water project to solve the problem. Head of communications at Newmont, Agbeku Kwame Azuma, expressed gratitude to the community for their support.
The check was presented to the chief as well as the chairman of the water project. So I think there's a certain level of accountability within the existing structures, and we hope that it will be put to good use.
Look at some more stories. And hundreds of students from senior high schools in the Upper East region have been sensitized on their career choices. Well, this year's edition of the Ghana Higher Education Fair in Bologatanga highlighted program choices in tertiary institutions.
The education fair basically coaches senior high school students on program choices in tertiary institutions.
Tertiary education therefore provides a leverage for the individual to attain his ambition within the larger goals of the society for advancement. There is ample evidence to link economic prosperity of developed countries with emphasis they place on the development of the tertiary institutions. The economic success of many European and East Asian countries is partly as a result of the deliberate strategy to develop the middle to high level human resource base through tertiary education.
Some exhibitors and corporate organizations interacted with TV3.
This is a program that is run in Bolga Poly to train students basically on hospitality and taking the three main aspects of hospitality into concern. That is accommodation operation, food and beverage service, and then food production in general.
The student from the Bolgatanga Girls Senior High School was satisfied with the fair.
Now to help we go back to the Ashanti region, and Peace and Love Survivors Association, a group of breast cancer survivors campaigning against the disease, has been inaugurated in Kumasi. The association will, among other things, embark on a countrywide outreach program to give first-hand information on the disease.
The president of the association, Mrs. Vivian Safo, said breast cancer could have devastating effects if left untreated. The president of Breast Care International, Dr. Beatrice Wiafia-Day, called on women to seek early treatment of the disease to save their lives.